Hey everyone, welcome back to my home. How are you doing? Okay, see my money? Ooh, I got so much money. Not really, I have $5. $5. You might only have this much, this much, this much, this much, or this much. You might have a lot more, but we're gonna talk about $5 today and how to start a stockpile. So I know many of you have struggled in 2020. I know I have. If you've had the absolute 100% perfect year, you haven't lost your job, your hours haven't been cut, you've made more money than you even know what to do with, everything's perfect, you have the most elite stockpile there is, you have all the food in the world that you could want, and you're sitting pretty on everything, then this video is not for you. But if you are like me and, kind of struggling through life, paycheck to paycheck, maybe even less than that, you might not even have a paycheck. You might be on unemployment, if not worse, where you're self-employed and you're trying to get some spare jobs here or there just to put food on the table. This video might be just for you. New year, fresh start, let's do it. Are you ready? Come on and join me. We want to start a stockpile the beginning of the year to keep us going throughout the rest of the year. If you've learned nothing else probably from last year, it was that we were probably not as prepared as we thought. Anybody find themselves in that situation? Whether your stockpile wasn't up to date, you didn't have enough toilet paper, you didn't have enough paper towels, who knew to stock up on the cans of Lysol spray? Well, this is what we want to do this year. I'm not talking about preparing for another pandemic. I'm not sending fear or anything like that. I'm talking about, let's just be prepared. I know people are preppers. I am not a prepper. I don't want to say I never will be, because they say never, but I don't see myself being a prepper. One reason is because my faith and trust that I have in my God is that He will supply all my needs. Now, that's not to say that I can just do whatever I want and He's going to dish it out to me. He gave me a brain and He gave me two hands, and I can be a wise woman who builds her house, and that's what I want to do. You might be a wise man, not a wise man, but a wise man, a wise woman, wherever you find yourself, single, married, single parent, couple with children, whatever the case might be, older, younger, it doesn't matter where you are in life. You need food to live. And I'm not a prepper, like I said, but I'm a lifer, where I want to prepare for life. So here we go. Are you ready? Okay, first of all, I have picked up a planner at the Dollar Tree. So if you want to get into planning and getting a fresh start this year, the Dollar Tree has some great planners. So I will tell you, this is my planner for my YouTube channel and for my blog. So in here, I have notes for you guys. And for me too. I love doing these videos. I really do. I have a passion to help people learn how they can do things practical, on the cheap, frugally, and still love life and enjoy it. We don't have to live a depressed life because we don't have a lot. We can live a great life with just a little bit. And that's one of the things I want to share this year. But I've got some notes in here. As much as I love doing my YouTube videos, I want you guys to love what I do. So leave a comment below if there's any suggestions or anything you'd like to see me do in 2021 that maybe I've talked about and you would like to see in a video that I've not done or I have done and you want to see it done differently. Please leave me a comment at any point. I love chatting with you guys down below in the comments. So with no further ado, you might want to grab a pen and some paper and take some notes as we go along. Let me take a moment and let me just walk you through my small stockpile. I'm talking small closet. Let me walk you through that and let you see what that looks like. Okay. So you got to see my stockpile. I wrote 2 pages of notes while I was at work the other day on my lunch break. I had this thought of fresh start, $5 pantry. All right, here we go. 5 points. $5 and 5 points on how you can start a pantry. Number 1, start where you can. Okay, you have $1 this week and you're telling me, Lynn, I barely have $1 to scrape up. I barely have $1. Listen, I can tell you, my husband and I have been there where we've had no food. I've been there. We have been there where we had to roll pennies. Yes, pennies, roll pennies to try and make our car payment. I got you. I get it. Don't think I have no idea what it's not like to have money. So maybe you only have $1, but if you can start with $5, I would say that's a great place to start. So number one, start where you can. Okay, this is your family, this is your life. Don't overwhelm yourself. This is not meant to overwhelm you. This is to allow you to feel like you can have freedom. Start making notes. Write down, where do I start? And write down how much you think you should start with. Number two, I want you to try and update your pantry, your stockpile. This is not in your kitchen. This is one that you're going to start, accumulating things for the future. Okay? So I want you to try and do this once a week. So every week, I want you to take $1 or your $5 and buy one more item, 5 more items, whatever you've decided, that's where I want you to start. Number 3, you want to make a goal. Okay? What do you mean make a goal? Do you want your stockpile for a month, for 3 months, for 6 months, or for a year? That does not mean this week, oh, Lynn said we have to have a year's worth of a stockpile. I got to go out and blow thousands of dollars. No. That's a goal. A goal is something we strive for. Doesn't mean we always get there, but we have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. Point number 4, make a list of priorities for you and your family. Now, your family might be you. You might be a single person and it's just you. It might be you and your pets, you and your spouse, you and your significant other. Maybe you and you're taking care of your parents. Maybe you're younger and you're still living with your parents. Whatever the case might be, you could have, 25 children at home. Whatever the case might be, you want to make a list of priorities for you and your family. This isn't for your neighbor, and this isn't for your coworker. This is for you and your family. I sometimes compare myself. You find yourself doing that. You compare, well, they do and they have. No. They don't live here. They don't eat the foods that my family likes. I wouldn't eat the food they have because I don't like that food. But yet I buy things because this is what YouTube tells me to buy. These people, they have these foods and then I go and buy them and they sit in my stockpile all year and I haven't used them because we don't even eat them. Don't do that. So make a list of priorities, such as types of food that you and your family eat. Okay, what do you eat? Do you not eat rice and beans? Then don't buy rice and beans. You eat a lot of pasta? Buy pasta. Okay? No judgment here. You buy what your family will eat. Now, we're not talking here right now at this point. This is baseline ground zero. Okay? We're talking fresh start. Pretend you have nothing in your house. You have no food and you need to start a stockpile. So we're at ground zero. We're not talking about the most wholesome, enriched, delicious, banqueting meals. No, we're talking survival here. You need to have things in your home. You lose your job, you need to have at least a week's worth of food to sustain yourself while you're looking for another job. Priorities of the foods that you guys like to eat. Number 2, do you have animals? We need to consider in our stockpile our pets. They need water, they need food, they even need treats. That is something that they would definitely need. You might not think, oh, well, that's not a priority. You know what? For those furry little friends, that's a priority to them. They don't understand you're out of work. They don't understand there's a snowstorm. They just know normal, they know routine, they know how you love on them. And that's through those things. First aid supplies. Again, for you and your family who's living home with you. What are things that you use on the regular? Probably Band-Aids, but think through that. What are things that you and your family need on the regular? Special needs, different things like that. Consider all of that. Medications. What kind of medications do you need? Now, granted, you should have a supply of scripted medications, but maybe things like for sour stomachs or things for sniffles or sinus headaches or regular headaches or cough, all set. And the last thing would be miscellaneous supplies for your stockpile. And I would say depending on your area. If you're in a flooded area, you might want to consider, getting ponchos for everybody in the family or waterproof this, that, or the next thing. You know what I'm talking about. If you live in a hurricane area, we tend to get hurricanes in my area and the power goes out. You're in a hurricane, you're in a flood zone, you're in in Minnesota where you're going to get clobbered with snowstorms. Depending on where you live in your area, buy the things that would be good for you in an emergency. Okay, the last thing, number 5, Decide on a space. Okay, some of you might be living out of your car. No judgment here. You might have chosen to do that. You might be in a situation you've been out of work and you've had no choice. So you don't have room to have a mega stockpile. I've looked at people on TV and they seem to have tunnels that go through their house and they lead to these bomb shelters and they have years and years, they want 20 years worth of food. That's their style, that's not mine. I do life. My life is right now and here with the family that I have in my home. I need at least a week's worth of food. So if you maybe have a little shelf on a bookshelf, or maybe you can only fit this much, whatever you can fit, find a place that will allow you to start a stockpile. Maybe you have a cabinet. Maybe you can reorganize and empty out a cabinet. Maybe it's a good time to go through the kitchen cabinets and say, there's a set of dishes in there. I haven't used those in 10 years. Give those to Goodwill. Bless somebody with them. Sell it. Sell it on Facebook Marketplace. Sell it on eBay. Maybe sell it, make some money that you can use to start your stockpile, and that would give you an empty cabinet. Maybe a tote, something you can put under your bed or slide under a cabinet, or maybe one of these big bins or something. Maybe it's just a tote. Listen, get a cardboard box. You can go to Aldi's or Lidl's. You know, they give the free cardboard boxes to put your food in. If you have to put your stockpile in a cardboard box to start, nobody's going to know. You put that somewhere, nobody has to know anything. That's an okay thing. Okay, so let's review. You taking notes here? Okay, number one, start where you can. $1 or $5, whatever you can. Number two, try to update this once a week. So in your mind, once a week I have to buy one item or I have to buy 5 items. Number three, make a goal. How big do I want my stockpile? 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year. I don't suggest over a year. That's my personal opinion. I just think after a while, how much food can you use? I know people that want to stock for 20 years. That's not me. You make that judgment call. This is for your family's needs. For my family, I would not want to go over a year. I get overwhelmed with that. I feel I won't use half of it. That's just my opinion. Number four, make a list of priorities for your family. Types of foods. Do you have animals and pets? First aid supplies, medications, and miscellaneous things depending on the area that you live in that you would need to have for an emergency. Number five, decide on a space. Where can you store things? How can you store things? Depending on the size of your house, you might be in a studio apartment. You might be, in a tiny little apartment in a big city. You might be in a caravan, what do they call it, RV trailer, and you decide what room you have. We're going to start with $5 basics. Again, I really did put a lot of thought into this for you guys. Thinking back when I had no money, we had no food, to where we are now. We're not poor. If you asked me, I'd say, oh, I'm poor compared to other people who have lots of money. I have food on the table every day. I have a roof over my head and I have clothes on. To me, that's not poor. I have the basics. I have what I need to. If you have $1, you're gonna be okay. So here we go. I'm gonna help you out. So we're starting with our $5 basics. Here's what I recommend. You ready? Okay, get your notebook and your pen ready. Here's what I would recommend. This is from personal experience, from 30 plus years of marriage, and now for a year really trying to get organized, going through 2020, things I've learned that I'm even refreshing my pantry and stockpile. I'm sitting right next to it. I'm actually going to be cleaning this out. There are things that I've stocked for a year I know I'll never use. I'm going to donate some of those things to the VA for the veterans. I just recently found out they collect canned goods and shelf-stable foods that they can give. Listen, if I'm not going to use it, why am I storing it? I could give it to them to bless them. So I'm going to be cleaning this out. I'm going to take you on that journey with me. So here's what I would recommend. Every week, $1, go buy a beverage. Maybe shelf-stable milk. You can get this at the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to base everything here from the Dollar Tree because most everybody can get to a Dollar Tree and can afford the Dollar Tree. You want to go to Walmart, you want to go to Target, you want to go to Whole Foods, you want to go to Trader Joe. You do what fits your budget. But I want to start at a baseline that most everybody can participate in this $5 stockpile. So pick up one item of a beverage per week. So this week I got milk. They have a 6-pack, 6 water bottles for $1 at the Dollar Tree. Maybe you want to start with a 6-pack of water. They sell gallons of water. Maybe you want to stockpile a gallon of water. Think maybe juice. Again, your family, foods your family uses and needs. Okay, so there's our $1 would go toward our beverage. Our second $1, I would recommend canned meat. Again, we're basing it on the Dollar Tree and a baseline budget for everybody. Tuna fish. They have canned chicken. They have Vienna sausages. They have even like corned beef hash. Be a little creative if you need to. There is several types of, they have canned ham. Think of what kind of canned meat that you can get for your stockpile with your second $1. Now you're vegan or you're vegetarian or you know, some other special diet, just replace that $1 with some type of a protein that would suit your family's needs. Maybe it would be dried beans. Whatever the case might be, again, some type of meat or protein. Okay, our third $1, we're gonna get a can of vegetables. Vegetables of your choice. This is your family, your likes, your needs. Is it whole grain goodness, organic, fresh? No. We're not talking that we're going to be spending what we would do right now this week. I would probably go out and buy fresh fruits and vegetables, salad, broccoli, you know, maybe some melon, some potatoes, whatever, for fresh fruits and vegetables for my weekly shopping trip. We're talking stockpile. A fresh bag of lettuce would not survive in my stockpile for a year, but a can of peas would. Okay, number 4, take another $1. We're going down the grocery aisle now. And I would recommend some type of a bread. Now, if you're having a stockpile for a week's worth of food, you could probably get away with getting a loaf of bread, an extra loaf of bread, because, you know, in a week you could do that. But if you're stockpiling for 3 months, 6 months to a year, you need to think through that. Okay, so what is bread? Do you have to have 2 slices of white bread to make a sandwich? No. You could do crackers. You could do, in my pantry I showed you, or my stockpile, those peanut butter crackers. Now they have peanut butter on them and they're a cracker. Again, we're talking stockpile emergency type foods to start with. We will build on our stockpile for those more healthy alternatives, but right now what we're doing is getting foods that we can do for $5 and stockpiling basics like milk, tuna, some peas. Here's something. Now this is not Dollar Tree. I wanted to show you this though. This was 88 cents. This was at Walmart, great value, and it's pizza crust mix. And the reason I wanted to show you this is think alternatives. Okay, so you want to stockpile for a year, 6 months, a bag of flour. Okay, yes, we're not going to get into how to store it, put it in the freezer first and all airtight containers. That's not what this video is about. It's the point. Flour can make bread. Flour can make pancakes. Flour can make flatbread if you don't have yeast. Flour can make some scones. Flour can make muffins. Pizza crust can do the same thing. So maybe a baking mix, maybe a pancake mix for a bread, a pizza crust mix, a loaf of bread if you're doing your stockpile for only a week, crackers, rice cakes. Think of things, and I also have a video, and I will link it below, on what do you do if you run out of bread. I also have a video on what can you do if you run out of milk, and I will link those below. These are just videos to get you to think. Sometimes somebody asks you a question, you're like, I don't know what I would do. Sometimes you need somebody to help trigger those thoughts. Okay, my last $1. You ready? Again, what's the rules? Based on your family's needs. Okay, so my last $1, I would recommend a miscellaneous item. Miscellaneous could be pet food, it could be a condiment, it could be maybe a bag of rice. You know how long one bag of rice like this could last me and my family? There's only 3 of us. I can take this bag of rice, I could throw in a can of peas, I could throw in this tuna fish, I could make some flatbread with this, and we could live for a few days. Is it like, do you want to eat this breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Absolutely not. Would it taste like really, really good? probably not the best. You know, if let's say I have no seasonings and I'm doing this just with water. Listen, if it's what you have and you need to feed your family, you've got a vegetable, you've got a meat, you've got some rice, you'll be okay for a few days. But think about that. This could get you by for a few days just on $5. Okay, so the miscellaneous items could be a fruit, it could be something for your pet, it could be some maybe dried beans, it could be a first aid item, it could be something that you need to survive in the area that you live in, and so on. Okay, let's wrap this up. Are you ready? We're going to break this down real simple. So you have $5 a week, the end of the month, 4 weeks to most months, that's $20. You say, well, what's the big deal? $20. What do I have for $20? So those 5 items here, we've got our bread, our meat, our vegetable, we've got some rice or beans or something like that. I've got a beverage. Those 5 items have now turned into 20 items. You have 5 vegetables, 5 meats, 5 breads, 5 beverages, and 5 miscellaneous. That's quite a bit. Now that's only in 1 month. You'd have 20 items. So at the end of January, you can look and go, I have a little stockpile. I have a cardboard box sitting in the corner of my bedroom, and I have 20 items of food. Food is life. So there's an emergency, you know, in the corner of your bedroom, in the corner closet, in the corner shelf, maybe somewhere stashed in your car, in your trailer, wherever you call home. If you start doing this week, at the end of this month, you'll have 20 items of survival food. Again, this is a stockpile. You do this for 3 months, 2, 4, 6, $60. You've spent, you have 60 items. Let's just say I had 60 bags of rice. Well, I don't think I'd do that. But do you know how long that would last you? But if you got rice this week and dried beans the next week and something else the next week, and you kind of spice it up as you go along, you're gonna have a lot of items. Now maybe that miscellaneous might be a spice like some onion powder or garlic powder or some lemon juice, so that you can add those things. Maybe a box of pasta, add the lemon juice to that, and make a chicken with lemon, a lemon chicken over pasta. You can start thinking like, okay, I started with this. Maybe you start with your first month, you're real basic. Now your second month, add to the first month's food. How can I start pairing things up? Maybe a little condensed milk would go good with this, or maybe I need that spice to enhance this. By the second month, you're going to start piggybacking to the first month. By the third month, okay, what can I do to round out the foods that I have? How can I have 3 months worth of foods that can work together? Don't buy things that, you know, they don't match. Try and start matching the things up, and then go from there. Leave a comment below if you have any suggestions on maybe other things you can start with. What would you do differently? What would you do with your $5? Leave a comment below if this video is a thumbs up for you, that like, whoa, I needed this. I needed a fresh start this year on how I can do this. Listen, you and I are in this together. 2021, by the end of this year, if you have spent $5 a week, if you've only spent $1 a week, you will be that much further ahead than if you did nothing at all. I want to remind you that you are worth something. Don't allow yourself to start in this year feeling worthless, helpless, and nowhere to turn. Listen, I'm going to try and give you as many basic ideas as I can to let you know you are worth it. Life is worth living. There is so much to enjoy in life. We're going to put 2020, it's in a book on the shelf. Someday we'll go back and read it, and we might even laugh about it. But right now we're in 2021. We're going to give it our best. We're going to have a fresh start. We're going to have a new outlook, and we're going to be more prepared, and we're going to do things even that much better with all the lessons we have learned from 2020. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for visiting me in my home. Thanks for allowing me in your home, and we will catch you in the comments below and on the next video.